Well, hello. It is Friday night again. It's the 20th of September, and here we are once more, dear friends, gathered around our computers, mobile devices, or whatever it is that you watch us on. But whatever it is, welcome. Thank you for joining us, whether you're watching live or watching on catch-up. Hello, everybody in the future. It's episode 233. We've got some news. We don't have a special guest this week. We had one last week. That was bloody brilliant. If you haven't watched the interview we did with the legend that is Dave Bristow, go and watch it. Stick it on your bookmarks and go and grab yourself 2 hours of hugely entertaining and informative conversation with one of the legends of the music industry. We do plan to get him back fairly soon to carry on talking, because it wasn't just about Yamaha. Of course, he worked at other places too, so we'd like to know about that. So, make sure you do that. But if you don't want to miss these kinds of shows, it's very easy to not do that, and you simply subscribe to the channel. That's all you got to do. Just hit that button that says subscribe and turn it to subscribed, and then hit the bell underneath and choose all, and then you get notified every time we put a video out. And trust me, there's going to be some interesting stuff coming very soon that we can't talk about. So you will want to be notified of that stuff. And if you're already subscribed, hit that bell anyway. Give us a like during the show, because that apparently makes a big difference to our algorithms, which is what everything is based on these days. So please do give us a thumbs up, or even a thumbs down if you don't like it. And to you too. And if you like this show enough to share it with somebody who doesn't know about us, then please do share that link around. It's just a very simple youtube.com/@ProSynthNetwork. That's all you got to do. If you want to support us, and we do love people that support us, trust me, at my age, I need quite a bit of support. You can do that at Patreon, patreon.com/ProSynthNetwork. It's pretty self-explanatory. And you can join us there, and you can see, you can see stuff, but you can get stuff, free stuff, just for a mere minimum. And I stress the word minimum, because you don't have to just do $2 a month. You can do more if you so wish. But there it is. There's our page. And if you subscribe to us, you get exclusive content, like that man doing an unboxing video of the Sonicware ELZ1 Play. You also get video footage of him playing it in his back garden. You also get footage of me tinkering with the Polybrute 12. You'll get free sounds and patches from the likes of Mark Barnes and James Dyson and a number of others. And we've got more coming soon. You'll get exclusive videos like the Super Booth walkabout that we did. Lots and lots of stuff, and all you got to do is just pledge to donate $2 $2 every month, and you can grab all of that stuff and much more coming over the coming months. I'm just surprised that we've actually got stuff for you there. I never thought we'd be able to sort of rustle all this stuff up, but people like Mark and James and all the other people that have supported us have made us able to do this, and so we thank them greatly. So there you go, that's the Patreon page. And that is all you need to do to support us. Of course, you can also support us on YouTube as well, becoming a YouTube channel member. And we do try and replicate the free stuff to you people as well. Again, it's a minimum $2 a month. You don't have to, but we'd love it if you did, because it just helps keep this channel going. We are also, strangely, on TikTok. I'm not going to bang on about it, because we still have very minimal numbers. But if you're a TikToker, we're there as well. And we're also across all the other social media channels, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, and Threads. So if you want to join us there, by all means do. Our most active place is, of course, on Facebook, because apparently my kids tell me that's where old people go to do their social medias. And so that's where we are, because we're mostly quite old people. If during the show you have a question or a comment that you'd like to make to myself or to my fellow co-hosts, who I shall introduce to you in just a moment, then just stick a big capital Q in front of your comment or your question, and that will just raise it to the top of our list, shall we say, and then we'll address that at an appropriate point. And also, can I say a massive thank you to our moderators who sit in the chat and keep you horrible lot in line. I can only see one. That is the consistent Mr. Andrew Brooks, who never seems to miss. He's always first name on the team sheet every Friday night. I don't see Andy Synth Addict, but that's not always a sign to worry about, because he generally pops in a little later, him being on the west coast of the United States of America. I haven't seen Ben around for 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know whether he's on Hollybobs or I don't know. But if you know where Ben is, give him a wave and say hi, and hopefully we'll see him back here soon. But thank you to all of our moderators that look after the chat, and they will be posting links to the topics that we talk about in the chat, so you can reference that stuff later on. So well done, and we might as well bring in the other old geezers live from Memory Services. We have actually not that live. He's mostly dead. It's Andrew Longhurst. How's your week been, Andrew?
Hang on a moment. I'm just going to mute myself.
That
sort
good,
of
huh?
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've just followed it up with a day of much the same, an afternoon of much the same, haven't we,
Yes.
Ken?
So I've heard. Oh,
Yes,
Ken's
but-
only just woken up.
But it's all good. It's all, I'm here, we're here.
You're
Some
alive.
lovely things to talk about. Some really
Yes.
good things to talk about.
Some interesting things, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
And,
Well,
and don't forget, we've got some, you're right, we have got some lovely things coming.
yes,
Some
definitely.
lovely things coming for Patreon. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Hold
And
your
he's now
breath.
going to do a magic trick. He's going to pull something out from underneath. Oh no, he's going to clean his glasses.
I'm going to clean my glasses, yeah.
Okay. Well,
Oh, no.
whilst you do that,
There.
oh, there you go. That's all you need. I'm supping on a new type of coffee flavoured stout, which is it's nice. Don't get me wrong, but it's not quite as nice as my regular tipple. Which is Badger's Stout, which is chocolate and coffee stout.
I
And
like
it's
stout,
rather
and I also
nice,
like mild. I haven't had mild for a long time.
No, I'm not a big fan of. Well, I'll drink it, but yeah, stout is nice because it's good for you, as well as being alcoholic. Let's find out what the other old geezer's doing. Wait. Oi. Yeah, you.
Oh, hello.
You with the
Sorry,
hair.
I was just watching somebody perform Reiki on a pig.
Okay.
Righty-ho.
Yeah. Hello.
Not even going to ask.
No, don't.
Not even going to
It's
ask.
best not to.
I didn't
How's-
know Donald Trump liked Reiki.
Badum.
Ooh, badum.
Yes.
Little bit of politics.
Little bit of politics. How's your week been?
Take a wild guess. It's been crazy as usual.
Been crazy. Yes.
Yeah, today has been. I'm all up 2600 out. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Did you do the two that you were going to do?
Yes, I did.
Good.
And Fiona went round to the garage to go and get a couple of little bits and pieces that were needed for one of the keyboards, and she was gone some time.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I had to go around there and rescue her. 'Cause,
Oh right.
yeah.
I thought there was going to be some sort of mysterious happening. After.
No, not that mysterious. No.
Okay.
So,
Did it involve
Fair
chocolate?
enough.
no, but there will be reparations later in the evening, I would imagine.
Okay.
Jolly good. Well, listen, good to see you. Here we all are.
Musical knee.
Yes, the musical needs. So yeah, welcome, gents. Thanks for joining as always, and hello to all the chatties. And I would call you all out, but there's a lot of you, and which is lovely, which is amazing. I'm always staggered at how many people actually bother to show up on a Friday night when they could be out doing so many other wonderful things. But
Well, getting rained on, for instance.
or getting rained on. Yeah, is it raining down your way?
Oh, it's been.
Yeah.
It's glorious here.
We've had thunder, lightning,
Very,
had
very fun,
power
yeah.
out at the studio, but we've got some, measures to. Yeah. It's been a
Yeah.
fun day.
Apparently, Gloucester is under the sea. Basically.
How does it go?
How do that
Under
again?
the sea.
I can only do the voice. Sorry.
Oh my word. Oh dear.
There'll be
There.
letters. There will be
There
letters.
will.
I'm sure
There
there
will.
will. I'm sure there will. Anyway, well done.
Do
Thank
the
you all.
Japanese laugh.
No. Steady.
No.
So let's crack on with some news, because we actually have some. And we've literally just had a piece of news that has landed on my desk in the last 30 seconds. So I'll bring that in a little bit later.
Newsflash.
Yeah, it's kind of a news flash. It's a very piece of flash news. It's very good. However, we're going to kick off, and bearing in mind, so those of you that are watching, watch regularly, know that last week we had Dave Bristow on, and we just gave the whole show over to talking with Dave, and we didn't cover any news topics whatsoever. So 2 or 3 of these are hung over from last week. So yes, other people have probably covered these, but we're just going to give our tuppence halfpenny on them, and yeah, tough. That's how it goes. But we're going to talk about a few of those. So some of these might be a little bit out of date, but there is some new stuff. So stick around. We're going to kick off and have a little natter about this once we've seen a little bit of the introductory video.
Hi, Dustin from Roland, here to show you the AIRA Compact P6 Creative Sampler, a small but mighty powerhouse of sampling and sound design with a remarkable range of capabilities. The P6 is the latest addition to the AIRA Compact line. Powerful, fun, affordable instruments that put Roland's legendary sounds in the palm of your hand. The P6 is a sampler that celebrates classic sampling techniques, fused with a modern approach using granular sample processing to create new textures from slivers of sound. It can capture audio at various sample rates through analog inputs, USB-C, and the built-in microphone. It can also internally resample to rinse and repeat for further sound design. To streamline your workflow, the P6 sample tool allows for editing and importing samples from Mac or PC. Each sample also...
So there you go. You get the idea. It's a small, portable tabletop sampler that Roland have made as part of the AIRA range, and is being demonstrated by a man in a beanie hat with weird stuff on the table. I really don't like those videos. When I see that video, I just really don't know. This clearly isn't for me. I am not the target market. However, this is a cool little tool that kind of joins the range of the rest of the AIRA sample, the AIRA instrument range. My first thoughts was that this is very much doing very much what things like the Sample Track and Lo-Fi 12 XT have been doing. Portable, built-in microphone. The only thing that I really liked about this was and I haven't obviously played with it, but the computer editor where you can just drag and drop samples onto the pads. I thought that was very cool, very neat. But yeah, this is a nice little thing. This is Roland doing a Volca, and I don't know, guys. What are your thoughts on this? Who wants to go first?
Kent.
Oh, really? Okay. There's very little I can say. There's been lots of thingies like this, isn't there? Anyway.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you make a CPU board and then go, right, let's put different buttons on it, give it different software, put it in a slightly different coloured case, and then we'll do another one in a range that does something else. And so forth as well.
Yeah.
It's platform. Yeah. And yeah, so it's cramming as much as you possibly can into the whatever the limit is of what's in the box. Not the target market like yourself. I don't think I've actually ever been that young or hip, ever. I don't think. If I was, it was very fleeting. So, yeah, I mean, again, portable, all the rest of it. What's not to like? If that's what you are specifically out looking for. So,
yeah.
But it seems to be getting a very, very crowded market now for the kit and fiddling box. There are many to choose from, so I think more detail has to be gone into with this to determine whether it's worth it over another small sampler.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Andrew? Is this Roland doing a sample track?
It's slightly different, and it's very good actually. The granular part of it is is really very interesting, and this is deep. I mean, I didn't understand. I just thought this is a very simple sampler at the price, yeah, all right, whatever, along with everyone else. But the number of samples you can have, the number of banks you can hold at any one time, the way the whole thing works, I think it's a really clever addition. I mean, it's tiny. It's probably too tiny for my little fingers to get into. But this really caught my attention. Did either of you watch the whole video and look at any of the other demos? This is how it works, kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, it's when I'm sort of comparing it, I'm being a little bit facetious comparing it to things like the Sample Track, because Roland clearly have decades of experience in designing user interfaces and cramming things into a very neat and well-formed product. And I'm not saying that Sonicware don't, but I looked at this and thought, well, if I wanted something, I've already, I can look over to my left and I've got Sample Track, I've got Lo-Fi 12 XT, and other little bits and bobs. And whether this is something I would want, I don't know. I love the fact that it's got granular in it, because I think granular sampling is very good. So yeah, I'll be interested to see what people come up with.
I think the other thing which I found interesting about it is that there is a lot of other stuff on the market. But you're right, Roland are really good at doing interface stuff and cramming a lot in, and it doesn't look like there's a lot there. But once you start diving into it, and the diving into it often becomes a real pain in the arse with other operating systems and other interfaces. But this is actually reasonably intuitive, and it does do a lot. And I love the fact it does have a mic, it does have analog inputs, it's also got mobile input, mobile connectivity, and it connects over USB. So there's a lot going on with this, and I think as a sampler for just for playing around portably, I think this is a good thing. As a standalone, I know it's part of the AIRA compact, and most people that are into that thing will probably buy it. But I think there's a good market for this outside, and at the price, I'm really, really, I'm really intrigued. I want to try it out. It's a good thing.
I mean, its focal point is definitely going to be, its size. So it's
which mine was.
I mean, mate, you ask anybody that's tried to put an Akai S6000 into a pillowcase, right, will tell you, where was this when I needed it?
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, you've got to get it through customs somehow.
I know, yeah.
All funny, I know that.
And it's a different way of it's a different way of treating sampling. I mean, lots of people have different ways of treating sampling. This is yet another different way of treating sampling. With with each one can be a loop and a granular thing, and you can play it polyphonically. There's a lot going on under the hood with this that isn't immediately obvious, but I do like it. I do like it, and
That's a good point, actually. What is the longevity of the battery?
Well, this is what I was just. So it's
4p.
Approximate expected battery life under continuous use, approximately 3 hours, and then 3 hours charging time. So yeah, it's a lithium-ion battery that's built in, rather than, say, for example, with the Sample Track where you put your own batteries in.
But you can, if you've already got a power bank for any of your other devices, you could just power it off of that.
Exactly. So it's good. It's okay. I like the fact you can also sample down at 11 kilohertz and that sort of stuff. But yeah, it should be interesting. Not for me, but they've got. I mean, Roland can call upon decades of development. They've got all this stuff literally sort of on the shelf, and they can just pick and choose this stuff and throw it into a small box, and stick it out there in fancy colours, played by people wearing beanie hats with miniature plants on their table.
Yes. You wouldn't get much of a cup of tea out of that pot, would you?
That's an interesting notion.
Anyway, it'd be cool if Roland put out a 49 key. Well, yeah, it would. It would. But then, how much would you charge for that?
4.
For what? But
he's a jolly good fellow.
Oh God, talk about fished.
So
what I want to know is how much this is, because I
179. I thought. Let me just have a look.
Is it under 200 quid? That's not bad.
I thought it was, yeah.
I thought I had the price somewhere. I haven't.
About the same as the TB303 was when it first came out.
Yeah.
But I wonder if these will be $4,000 in 30 years' time.
Is it not on the Gear News website?
The what website? Who? When? What? Yeah, it probably is. You know.
I'm just looking now.
I should try them one day.
Yeah,
interesting website.
There we go, 170 quid.
There you go.
198 euros, $183.
So that's not bad for less than a couple $100, is it?
That is.
It's not bad, no.
Yeah.
Very good.
And then you put that up against, and I say it again, the sample track, which is about twice that. But then I think the sample track's probably got more going for it. But yeah,
different bass, different things. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
It's an affordable. It's a really affordable.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you buy this, then you're going to buy something else of theirs. If it's your first time buy, and if you've already got the other stuff, the S1, etc., then you're going to want to have this as well. So it's a very clever product.
There you go. Roland P6 is available now for, as we just said, about 170 something pounds, beanie hat not included, and have at it if that's your thing.
That's it, sir.
Yeah, I like this when they've released 7 of these, they can give them Disney names: Beaty, Twicky, Craney, Twitchy, Fiddly, Pesky, and Wanky. Very good. Nice one there. I sing the body electric. He wins the best comment of the show thus far. See if you can beat that one. Yeah. Just in our friend Jason Jervis, who's doing some fantastic content on his YouTube channel at the moment. Good evening, Jason. I hope to see you in a couple of weeks' time in Sheffield. And yeah, go and check out Jason's channel. He's criminally undersubscribed. I couldn't believe how few subscribers this man has, who produces quality content all the time.
What's the website? What is it?
Get Jervis on YouTube.
Right, doing it now.
Yeah, do it, everyone. Do it now. That's your homework. Go and subscribe. He's a lovely boy. He's from your neck of the woods, Andrew.
Oh, bloody hell. He's lovely, she.
Yeah, he's a very talented man.
Welcome to the 1970s.
Yes. Shall we move on? Let's see what else we've got. Do you like this new layout, by the way? I think I quite like that. We're all here, and then the screen's there as well. I think it's cool. Should we stick with Roland? No,
it's making me sick.
No, we'll do one more Roland thing because we like to be connected. This one is for old. This one is for Roland Cloud subscribers on the Ultimate plan.
I love my drums to have great tone.
Been recorded with absolute incredible precision.
What I've loved about using this software is that it maintains the reality of the sound.
Pretty much all my drums have been software.
With DW Soundworks, I've got my DW drums with me wherever I go.
It's nice for me when the softwares and the sounds are instantly usable.
I go deep dive into it and tweak the EQ, tweak the tuning.
I think it's a game changer.
So this is the news that the Drum Workshop plugin Soundworks, which was released to coincide with the release of the DWE kit from DW, as they're mostly known. That kit is interchangeable between acoustic and electric, and you can do it. It's not like a flick of a switch job. There's a little bit of jiggery pokery, but you can make that kit acoustic or electric at will. And this is the software behind the tones that come out of that kit. And the news is that Roland snuck this out about a week or so ago, completely under the radar, with very little announcement. In fact, I don't recall them doing any official announcement. But this was in the Roland Cloud, but it was a paid-for option. It was $199.99 UK to buy the Soundworks plugin, and then each drum library was an amount of money on top of that. What you're getting now with the Ultimate membership, so you have to be on the Roland Cloud Ultimate tier. is you get that plugin plus the 6 core drum kits, which include samples of 4 DW acoustic kits, a Gretsch kit, and a Slingerland kit. Plus, there's a metal, it's kind of heavy metal drum kit in there as well that they've added in for free. But yeah, it's actually, I mean, I'm a big Superior Drummer 3 fan. I use that either as a plugin or with my eDrums, and it's brilliant. It's the cream of the crop. And I also have BFD, which is not so much, but it's still pretty good. This, I think, sits somewhere in between the two in terms of its ease of use, flexibility, and the fact that you've got grooves and MIDI players in there. You've got plenty of kits and plenty of items within each kit to chop and change and create your own stuff. You've got mixers and EQs and effects and all of that kind of stuff going on. And it's all there in this plugin. And if you're a Roland Cloud Ultimate subscriber, it's now there, no extra cost, and you can download this. Word of warning, each drum kit is at least around 8 gigabytes. I think the biggest one is about 15.5 gig, so you will need some space, and I highly recommend you use an SSD because they are deeply multi-sampled. They're very good sounding kits, and I'm just glad there's another option out there. But I guess you guys, I don't think either of you are on the Roland Cloud, are you?
No.
No.
So you probably don't have any skin in this game at all. But thoughts on a new drum plugin?
DW drums are just madly good.
Oh, very good, yeah.
If someone's done a really good job of sampling those, which Roland are pretty good at this stuff, it will be an interesting and worthy thing to have. You know, if I was in the Roland Cloud, it would be a lovely thing to have, but I've got so many drum kits now. But yeah, if I was subscribed to Roland Cloud, I think anything which they put up a piano the other week, which people were sort of very sniffy about. But it's a good thing, you know, putting these things in that people use and need, and having a DW kit as part of your arsenal is no bad thing. It's no bad thing. So well done then.
Yeah, absolutely. Ken, any thoughts on this one?
I think I've got this. The GUI certainly looked familiar.
There are, I mean, it has definitely a Superior Drummer look to it.
Yeah, I know there was a few that came with complete 14 or whatever it is now.
Okay, yeah.
Lumped in there, which they are great sounding drum kits, you know. But even that one, look, I'm going, yeah, I recognise that carpet.
Yeah, that's another thing with these plugins. They always put the drums on lovely rugs, lovely Persian rugs.
Yeah, and I go, I recognise that carpet. I'm sure I've got this one.
It is one. My biggest disappointment about this was, say, with Superior Drummer, every drum from every kit has been graphically represented. So when you build your own kits, you can pick toms from one kit, snare from another kit, cymbals from, and every one has its own unique icon. So when you build that kit in 3 dimensions on there, you get this, you know, real sort of Harlequins type, you know, kit. But everything is, with this, the drum kit stays the same, but the sounds changed based on what you allocate. But for me, I was looking at this and, well, has that drum loaded? Because it looks the same as time before. So that was a little bit off-putting, but then I guess that's just what I'm used to with Superior Drummer 3, which again I think is still takes some beating. Did you get that? Did you see what I did there? But as we've said before and I think we said this with Earth Piano, was that if all you have as your main suite of instruments is the Roland Cloud, well, now you've got, you know, a very good acoustic piano, and now you've got some great acoustic drums in there. So if you don't have it, it's very good.
How much is the Cloud?
So the Ultimate Cloud tier, I think, if you do it annually, it's about $189 a year.
And is it a check? Is it a check? Is it a check or cash that they want from you?
You should try this out on family members before you put it into the public domain. You know this. I've told you this.
What? Just measuring things.
I'd forgotten about Modo Drum. Absolutely. Modo Drum is lightly sample based and mostly physical model. So the great thing about Modo Drum, that's from IK Multimedia, the great thing about that is that it has a much smaller footprint, so kits load a lot quicker, and it does sound very good, and you've got a lot of control over the models, the physical models of the drums. It is very good. So yes, apologies, that is another good drum kit, acoustic drum kit plugin. But no, I'm very happy because I was very disappointed when Roland bought out Drum Workshop in about 2 years ago, and they facilitated cloud, used cloud to facilitate the delivery of drum kits for this plugin. And I thought, yay, excellent, we're going to get the DW stuff. And I went in there, and of course, everything's labelled up as 199 for this and whatever for that. I was like, oh, well, never mind. And then a Roland Cloud update came through last week, I think it was. And I just was clicking through to see what was new in there. And I clicked on the DW tab, and lo and behold, it said Ultimate. And the little arrow to download it. And so there we go. Downloaded that, and now I've got a bit of room in here. I might actually see if I can fit my drum kit up here for a little while. Although that will then take up all the room. But
Look, just because you've got a bit of room doesn't mean you have to put something in it.
No, it does. Look.
Enjoy the room.
Look.
I am very much enjoying the room. I can actually walk around.
And keep on enjoying it. No.
I feel guilty that it's all, cased up in the garage, and I spent a lot of money on that. Talking of which, I spoke to my accountant, which is a very silly thing to do, especially when it comes to year end. And he said those fateful words: "If you're thinking of buying anything, maybe now's the time to do it."
Oh God.
Okay, so
I hope your accountant's heard of the idea of gifted in and being able to write that off, depreciate that against any liability.
Indeed. So it.
What did you just say?
Gifted in. For anyone watching, if you've ever had something gifted to you, given to you, keyboards or whatever, even if you haven't paid, they have a value which to your business or to your thing, which can then be depreciated by your accountant against any tax, any profit, so it can depreciate against that. It's a really good thing. Really good thing. For some of us, it's extraordinarily good.
Yes. So there you go. Anyway, DW Soundworks now available as part of the Roland Cloud Ultimate membership. Who knows? It might roll out in lesser forms to the lower tiers at some point. But if you're an Ultimate member, there you go. It's there. Go download it using the Roland Cloud Manager, that wonderful, sturdy, straightforward piece of software.
Did I really just give tax advice?
You did, yeah. And we're just trying to, pretend that never happened.
Oh, was it tax advice? All I heard was blah 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 blah.
It's been like what we need is something more to talk about.
Let's do that. Well, let's stay on
Really?
the drum theme. Let's just have a very quick look at this video, and then we'll talk about this a little bit more. Here we go.
We always wanted to work with Elliot Scheiner because he, without a doubt, is one of the most prolific and important and legendary producers and engineers and mixers of all time in the history of pop music and rock music as well.
Elliot's really well known for his mixing, and it is so interesting to see how minimalistic his approach is, because working as an engineer, there's a ton of things you can add in post and a ton of extra things you can pile onto the sound, but he relies on technique, EQ, and really just levels to make sure everything is where it needs to be.
My uncle had a pair of COS headphones, which was the only headphones at that time, and I went up to his apartment and laid down on the floor and listened to Sgt. Pepper and was mind blown. And I started reading the back cover, and I saw Jeff Emmerich being the engineer, and all I could think about was, I wanted to be him.
So there we go. This is the new SDX from Toontrack. It works with Superior Drummer 3, and it's been recorded by Elliot Scheiner, who is, as they said in the video, he's a bit of a legend and has done some great work, not least in his surround sound mixing efforts, which are some of the best out there. He's also got his own brand of in-car audio, I believe, in America. It's either his brand or a major brand that has his kind of badge on it as well. So he really knows his stuff about sound. This is a great kit, and as you can see, these are Superior Drummer kits that look gorgeous on the screen, and you can build these out any way you want, as well as choosing from numerous preset kits. And these, it's not just one drum kit that's been recorded. It'll be multiple drum kits with multiple mic configurations, and also with all the overheads and the drum mics and the 5.1 configurations in there as well. So they're hugely comprehensive, and they're not cheap. These are about 180 euros per pack, and they're a bit like the Omnisphere of the drum plugin world, in as much as they rarely ever discount their big titles. They'll do the smaller ones, but not the big ones. But there's a reason for them, and they are very, very good. Obviously, I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on this, but if you were in the market for some great drums, would this be something you would consider? Don't all rush.
Why not? Honestly, why not? But it's really not my area of expertise. I have to admit.
Do you ever play along with like acoustic drums when you're noodling in your studio? Do you just pull up a drum loop or something? Or?
Yeah, I have done. Maybe not so much lately. But as I've been sort of like experimenting more with the dark arts. So
the dark arts.
Oh yeah. But no, I very rarely find myself using rhythm. Weirdly, not using drums very much.
You surprise me, Ken.
Yes,
I'm not best friends with rhythm.
No, I'm more of a landscaper, if you like, rather than building patios. So what?
Yes.
No. Yeah. Notes.
Curiously, I quite I occasionally get into taking multi-tracks of drums.
I thought you were going to say ladies' underwear for a minute.
And breaking them out and then using a kit, re-triggered kit. So I break it into MIDI things and then re-trigger it. And finding a kit that just sits comfortably, that feels like it's being played by a real person, that's been recorded really well, phase coherent across the whole thing. This, he is a really good engineer, and I like, it's kind of, that philosophy is a really good one, which is get it right before you start, move it up on a drum riser, use the right mics, position everything, then just a little bit of EQ, not squidges of compression. You can do that to the whole thing after, but it's a really good thing, and you end up with a really good sound, and it can really make a track. It can really make it using this kind of thing. So this is, I like him. I admire him enormously, and I may take a look at this. Not sure I'll get it, but it's a nice sounding kit.
Yeah,
it really is.
It's not a cheap world to get into, because the Superior Drummer 3 package, which comes with a considerable amount of kits, and actually somebody said in the chat, can it fill Collins? Well, yes, it can, because in the standard factory packs, there is a kit called the Collins kit, and it's got those lovely concert toms, and the snare is going through a gate, and it's beautiful, and it's my preset.
But which Phil Collins?
Well,
is
indeed.
There is the one before. There's the earlier Phil Collins, the Brand X sort of thing, and all that lovely, hi-hat work and stuff. So which Phil Collins? And you can. But the thing is, you can make that sound with any kit. It's not hard.
But it's nice when it's been very well recorded, and you just go, there it is, and you can do the whole.
What eat chocolate things?
Yeah. Big gorillas behind drum kits. So there you go.
Good thing,
but
lovely man.
Oh, here comes a door.
It's headphone killer.
Yes. Bless her.
Jesus.
Oh, she's got a collar on there.
And arm killer.
Yeah. Oh, she's a little bit more passive now.
Yeah. That lasts about 4 to 5 seconds.
Yeah. I bet she was good on International Pirate Day yesterday.
No, don't walk on stuff. God, woman. Go on.
Do you know
Record
why
that,
pirates
put it
are
out.
pirates?
Because they are.
There you go, then. No, you leave him alone.
Old as the seas. Indeed. Anyway, synthesizer. Yes.
Oh my God, sir.
Yes. So state of the art, recorded by Elliot Scheiner for the Toontrack Superior Drummer 3 system. Is available now. It's about, I think it's €179. Let's move on. Let's state. I tell you, we are doing the whole segue thing really nicely here. So we went from Roland to drums with the and then we went to this, and now we're going to a drum machine. And that's enough of that. This is Full Bucket Music's latest plugin. We did kind of screech about this towards the end of last week's show because I was very excited. I love a vintage drum machine, and the Drumtraks doesn't get a huge amount of love. Often seen, as somebody has just said in the chat, as a poor man's Lindrum. But it's a lovely thing. It's a lovely thing. And of course, Bjorn over at Full Bucket Music has now done this version. It is completely free of charge. It works in all the major platforms and formats. And if you're looking for that classic kind of 80s drum sound, that sequential sound from 1983, there it is. It's got a simulation, the original Z80 running in there as well, plus all the original factory and some additional ROM samples. Pretty much everything has been replicated from the hardware, but in this little plugin. And say it again, it's free, but if you do go and get it, if you haven't already, do send a donation via the PayPal button that is on the Full Bucket Music website, just there on the right hand side. Do send them a few quid. I'm sure that Bjorn will appreciate it. But yeah, available as a clap plugin, VST2, VST3, AAX and audio units for both Windows and for Mac OS as well. Whose hands up? Who's you, Andrew? You were sort. I don't know if that was a grimace or a look of nostalgia across your face.
Unalloyed joy, really. It's that is the definitive sound. Everyone did sort of miss out on the 6-track. It was a drum machine that had sounds that I know I spent back in the 80s ages trying to get that slap, that sort of rolled kick drum that was just solid. Get the slap and the tone and the snare that cut through. Every single thing about this kit cuts through. And if you do electronic music and you don't have this and it's for free, what is wrong with you? I'm going to get this because it reminds me of the sounds. It just works.
Yeah.
If I can make it more, if it's got velocity sensing as well, even better. But as it stands and as it comes, I mean, he's going to be getting the biggest cup of coffee from me. And I love it. I just think it's a really, really, really good thing, and everyone should have this. Everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. While Kent's rolling his own, do you often get these things in at all in your workshop?
Well, look, I cannot stress this enough. People should go and get this plugin because that way you can take your 6 tracks and throw them in the bleeding bin and stop sending them to me because they're the most awful drum machine ever conceived by man. So please set fire to your hardware and go and get the software now.
And there you go. What more? There you go. It even gets a visual endorsement as well. You don't need any more than that. You can get these sounds in another plugin, namely GeForce's DMX plugin, because it comes with the sequential Drumtraks sound set built into that as well. So it's not like it hasn't been done before, but certainly with the interface and that sort of emulation of the Z80 processor and everything, it's probably maybe a more accurate version of.
And it does lead you to a particular way of working, which
exactly.
we talked about this. Those creative blocks that getting yourself boxed into a particular way of working are oftentimes where you're more creative and you create more and better sound. I just think it's a gimme. Go and get it. Go and get it. Buy him a cup of coffee or 3. Do.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think we've said that it's not only the interface that leads you down a path in terms of the sound you get out of it, but it's also the way that the hardware processed those samples. Very much with with the Lindrum, for example, but also the Drumtraks had that. It just had a thing about it, and brilliant stuff. Glad to see that, and of course, that I keep wanting to call him Kim because it's Kim Bjorn, but this is Bjorn, and I always get that in my head a little bit wrong. So hopefully, I haven't misnamed him today. And whilst you're there, of course, he does do the 6-track as well, so you can have the 6-track and the Drumtrack as free plugins. And then just send him another coffee or another beer. But please go and support Bjorn because he does amazing work. All of his plugins are incredibly good and they're all incredibly free. Which is just incredible. Have I said incredible enough? Incroyable. It's very good indeed. Right. So let's see. I don't know if we've got a link.
Synthesizer anywhere on I don't know. On
let's see. No, well, actually, we've got a couple of synthesizers. Maybe we'll come to those. I'm going to leave that one till last because that's going to go on. Let me do this one first, and then we'll move on to a couple of hardware synths that have been sort of doing the rounds since NobCon, which was about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. But let's have a listen to this, the latest from UVI. you go. That's UVI's World Suite 3, which came out just yesterday. And unfortunately, it hasn't given me a huge amount of time to have a play with it myself. But I'm very excited because I liked World Suite 2. The only problem I have with these sorts of instruments, I love the fact that they bring less common instruments from around the globe into our computers and under our hands, that we can mess around with them to our heart's content. But I'm always slightly worried that my use of these instruments in my very completely Western way is maybe culturally misappropriating, and I'm not, doing them justice. I'm not doing them properly. I always have this sort of concern that I'm just using these sounds in a way that they were not meant to be used. But then I suppose there's the other side of that is, well, I'm giving, or we on this side of the world are giving new life into this kind of stuff.
So you're going to give up all your synths then?
What? No.
Go back to orchestras? Is that, and guitar music? Is that?
No.
That's the whole point. Music is an evolving thing. We all take influences from wherever, and I love this suite. I love it.
I'm always. Well, I did some stuff in the 90s where I used a lot of ethnic instruments. All samples out of Roland modules and stuff. I thought, oh wow, I've got access to all of these wonderful instruments that I would never even have thought of using. And when I listen back to them now, they're 30 years old and not very good. But I just think I'm just not using these correctly, and I always felt a little bit of shame in that regard. But I love this. I just love all of those instruments, and the interface is fantastic. It's really nice and simple and very clean, as we can see there. Let's just throw that up, big style. It's a lovely clean interface, and it's not small. There's a lot of content here. Plenty of, and Jordan's in on the action there. He's doing a demonstration in there as well. 430 instruments, 1,400, more than 1,400 presets across all of those instruments, over 12,000 samples, and I think the overall size of this, they're all divided into different territories. The overall size, where are we? It's usually down the bottom here, isn't it? Here we go. 35.5 gigabytes. Lossless samples, so they're compressed down from about 65. Lots and lots of stuff to get your teeth into here. Andrew, you were obviously quite excited about this. Tell us more.
Well, when I don't know if you know, but I used to work for a company called Emu Systems. Now,
did you?
I don't.
Never heard of them.
Did you know that, Ken?
No, I've never heard of them. What do they do?
No idea.
Do they do drainage?
What? Some would say yes. Some would say yes.
They used to be called Dino Rod Hull.
Yeah,
and Emu.
We've got a man coming on to talk about them. Dave Bristol's.
Bristol's.
We actually made a world, a planet Earth, a module called Planet Earth.
I remember Planet Earth.
And one of the problems with Planet Earth was finding when to stop. And what was really interesting was when we were sampling them and putting them together, we found ourselves going out to look for examples of the instrument being used and the culture that it was used in, to find how to represent the MIDI play, the playback loops and all that, so they sounded as authentic as they could. And that, for each of us that did that informed what we were doing, what we were playing, and how we were playing, and So anything which does this, which draws upon influences from a much wider pool, I love. And I love some of these sounds. I mean, I just really do. And I think it's a good thing. It's a really good thing to be able to explore the world. And these have been sampled so well. And the loops they've got, the different phrases they've got, start taking you down a way. You don't have to do that. You can go your own way. But they've done a pretty good job. They really have. And I'm always excited about world libraries. This one's a good.
Yeah. It retails for normally €299, but there's an introductory price with a third off, so it's $199. Of course, if you are a UVI Sonic Pass subscriber, which is just a mere $24 or €24 a month, this is already in your library. Go and download it. Mr. Spong.
Yes.
You are known for playing lots of kind of cinematic, ethereal
Indeed.
pieces.
Yes.
I would imagine this might be tickling your fancy somewhat.
Got it.
Maybe. Got it. Oh, he's already got it. And your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I love this stuff because it puts a whole aura onto something that you're writing, and it helps people to bring them in, pointing them in the direction that you want them to think when they're listening. But more interestingly, is the cultural appropriation part of it. It isn't cultural appropriation, right? Cultural appropriation in this context would be, to take a balalaika and start doing, Russian folk songs and flogging them as your own. That's cultural appropriation. These instruments were invented. These are inventions like any other instrument, like anything else on the planet. It doesn't mean you're culturally appropriating the Japanese if you're using a mobile phone or a Sony PlayStation. Do you know what I mean? So put yourself at rest. It's not a cultural appropriation.
Maybe I kind of overstated it a bit too much. I just feel that I'm not doing the instruments justice, and therefore.
Well, you are, because if anything, you're going to be using them in a way that nobody else is going to, and that's doing the instrument justice.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's exploring.
The other thing which I find endlessly fascinating with world music is that when you're playing a particular instrument from somewhere, I remember we had a whole thing around barons and Irish pipe. There were some not Celtic pipes. There were a bunch of different pipes, Ukulele pipes, and then there were African instruments and Indian and whatever from from Bali, wherever. And with each one of them, the really funny thing is, as soon as you start playing it, trying to write something with it, with the baran, I felt I was in a bar somewhere in Wicklow, and I could hear the rain falling outside. With some of the flutes from North Africa, I could feel the heat. There's something about that. It's a journey. It takes you, and it opens up your creative horizons, because you can't help being drawn by the sound of the instrument and the imagery that comes with it. So that affects what you do, which is a great thing. I love that about it. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. Like this, Van Geller said at least 3 pedals wide up to control cultural appropriation through a big reverb.
There you go.
Good. Very good. So absolutely, I mean, Nick Howe says Zimmer probably all over this for June 3. I think Hans is probably he's got most of the people who play these instruments on his speed dial, but who knows? Who knows?
No, he does.
Yeah. Where is Hans, by the way?
I don't know.
Oh, he's there. Oh, he's still there. I thought behind you.
Oh yeah, he's got the rabbit of negative euphoria on his shoulder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's safer up there.
Night? Didn't you say last night?
Yeah, no, she's chewed all the back of it.
Oh, he's on the back.
Yeah, so now it has to lean up against the wall in a casual manner.
Dear.
He's looking. Yeah. He's looking.
I thought he'd gone forever.
Oh, yeah, no, he has. Yeah.
No. He is still with us. It's just that some of his, shall we say, his backup team isn't there.
He's had his arse chewed off.
Basically, yeah. Yeah. She's had him
from
behind.
the front. There we go. World Suite 3. I haven't really had a chance to play around with it, but I'm hoping that the weekend gives me some time to mess around and
just immerse yourself in it. Have fun.
Indeed.
It's good.
Indeed.
It's good.
Yeah.
Right. So that is that. Let's see. What else have we got? I don't really know how much we can talk about this again. I've got it. I've downloaded it. I haven't used it yet, but I do like previous versions of this, which is IK Multimedia's T-RackS 6, which has just got its update, so from 5 to 6. It's a set of mixing and mastering plugins that are very, very good, but I don't use it an awful lot because I don't do huge amounts of mixing or mastering. Andrew is our resident sort of producer engineer type. Are you familiar with the T-RackS suite of plugins, and does this tickle your fancy?
I'm aware of them.
I'm very aware of them. There was a time in the 80s, 90s where there were lots of different finalizers came out to master tracks, which just made them louder and did stuff from phase coherence and bass end and all this stuff. And it's kind of missing the point. It's kind of fixing what you should have picked up in the mix. And I think an awful lot of these plugins can end up making you sound like everyone else. Hits made easy. Nothing's easy about them. And I prefer to master proper. I like using a Massenburg EQ or something to do these things if I can, to EQ it. Rather, I like using my ears and a bit of separation and playing around with. I'm not sure why I'm completely against these, but I kind of am. I think they're excellent. Some people are going to love these, jump all over them, but I think you can get lost in all of this. I think you can just get lost in it and not, you're adding one thing on that's going to fix this and another one that's going to fix that, and you suddenly have reams and reams of plugins all there to fix something, and you end up so far away from the original intent, and it's all about the story, about the track and about the song or the instruments. So these things, but it's very difficult to use them and not use them all the time and overuse them. They're not my thing. I'm not that fond of them, I have to say. T-RackS do make some great stuff though. They do make some great stuff, but this isn't for me. No.
Kent, you into your mixing and mastering plugins at all?
I can't even spell it. No, it's not. I'm with Andy on this. That you fix it while you're doing it.
It's not a problem that I can fix.
Exactly. Because I play it back and I go, no, that's not right, and go back and sort it.
Yeah.
Not do this whole thing at post like this.
So so when you're mixing, quite often when you are mixing, whether it's on a big desk or a small desk or on your door, you'll be. What I used to do all the time, and I think a lot of engineers do, you just take there comes a point where you just take all the faders down and build it back up again. And each time you build it up, you find something else and you find the mix, and it gives you a way of doing it. Whereas if you just sort of do it and then put it through a whole bunch of things to try and fix all that stuff, it's kind of defeating the point a bit. But I know lots of people that will jump all over this, and if you use it, for instance, like the 1176 limiting amp, using that on a snare or on a bass, it gives it a certain sound. Using it across the whole track, really? So I'm a bit sort of about it.
Yeah, there's you get a lot for your money. And if you've already bought stuff, the upgrade prices are very favourable. But there is also, if you want to just sort of see what it's like, there is T-RackS Intro, which is completely free of charge, and you get 3 modules: a classic compressor, a classic EQ, and the Master Match X Lite version. So you can mess around with those and just get a feel for what it's able to do, and then if you want to go a little bit further, you can.
And that's the thing. I think that you just named one, the Master Match, which is the goal of which is to take a reference track and then EQ and master a track to sound like that, to give it the same sonic signature. That's just, use your ears, listen. And if it doesn't sound like it, go away, mix again. Learn to mix, learn to listen, and learn to reference. I have reference albums like Crime of the Century, Supertramp, which is sonically such a clever thing, and it's so rich and it's so well defined. Use some of those and just learn to do it properly. Honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are 4 versions.
But I am a knob.
Well, true. There are 4 versions. There's the intro version we just mentioned. There, it's completely free of charge. The standard pack with 19 modules in there is €99.99 euros. The pro version, which gets you an extra 21 modules, gets you get that for €199.99. And then if you want the T-RackS Max, which gets you all 60 plugins, which normally retail for like €99 each. So you get 60 for €300 basically. That's not a bad deal for the packs. So yeah, have at it. If you're into your mixing and mastering, I'm sure that these might be very useful for you. But as Andrew's rightly pointed out, get it right first time, really, and then you won't have to spend huge amounts of time with this. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about some hardware. Let's see. I'm not entirely sure if I've got any video. Yes, I have. I've got some video of this. We'll leave that there. I'm sure that it does way more than that, and you don't need weird gloves with skeleton prints on them.
I was going to ask about the gloves.
Yeah, it's a little weird. But this is the new synth from Michigan Soundworks. It's not actually available yet, although they hope to have something by the end of the year. But you only need to take a very quick look at it to understand where it draws its inspiration from. This is the MSW 830. And according to my esteemed colleagues at Gear News, it's a Roland style mono with 3 oscillators. And yeah, this actually looks a really nice thing because it's just very simple. There's no fancy designs going on here, but it's a continuation because they did the MSW 810, which was about 3 or 4 years ago. And now they've got the 830, which uses the AS3340 VCOs, and the mixer can control each of those waveforms, with all 3 having pulse width modulation, ramp, sawtooth, and triangle, plus a 4th, which acts as a sub-oscillator, noise, or external input. Additionally, there's oscillator sync and FM. There's also a drive section with modulation. Analog filter with 4 modes: 4-pole low pass, 4-pole band pass, 3-pole high pass, and a phaser mode. Lots going on there. There's no official price yet, but it's supposed to be around $800, which it was less than I thought it would be. So it's quite an interesting thing. Do we need another kind of Roland clone? Maybe I'm doing a disservice by calling it a Roland clone because I'm sure it does more. But we can't really tell at the moment because we haven't really seen or heard huge amounts about it. Any thoughts on this one, chaps?
Well, one thought struck me while I was watching the video is they could really, really do with a noise ramp on the VCA. That would be quite useful, I think.
Yes.
Why?
Just a 220 ohm resistor probably do it, or just give it a pot even.
Why?
It gets rid of the thumping.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, you've got indicators on the front panel to tell you that what it's doing. You don't need to hear it coming out of the speakers. Thank you very much.
Very true.
Especially if you're using like a high pass and you've got it tight up in the high pass area. You don't want the over the top of it if possible.
Yeah.
So,
but to be fair, that was a bare bones system, and obviously it's not been finished. So maybe that's something that.
Yeah, well, hopefully they'll hear this and go, "Oh, yeah, we better do that."
Yeah,
because there are a few synths that you can forgive some of the older machines, for sure. But I've heard newer machines doing it. I'm going, Jesus Christ, how many people ever learn? They just go, no, the gate, just put the gate in it. That'd be fine. Leave it. Yeah. Sod it. It's like, guys.
But yeah, it's a nice tabletop synth. Thoughts, Mr. Longhurst?
It is rather. I mean, it's got a lot of I/O on it, and it will, because it's got that third oscillator. You can go FM and cross, all of that kind of sync. It's going to have some interesting sounds. It feels like it's straying into, is it the SH5 or SH7 sort of territory a bit, which is no bad thing. It's one of those where you've got a bit more grunt to it, as it were. So I think I quite like it, and the price isn't mad. It's still going to be a lot for others, but it's, some people will find that over the top, especially when they can buy something not entirely dissimilar from another vendor. But I quite like it, and I want to encourage people doing these things. This is why reinvent the wheel? They have clearly copied the Roland layout, and the one thing I do like, I love having sliders, because you can see automatically, you can see straight away where everything is. It's one of those things where you can just you can fix your eyes.
Reminds me of the old, the old Boss mixers you used to get in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You know the ones? I think I had a 4-channel one or something like that. It's really nice, really beautifully built.
So it's it's about the quality of the build with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think.
But $800 is not bad.
It's not bad.
So
I was expecting a bit more than that.
700 quid when it lands.
Thereabouts, yeah.
650, 700.
Maybe.
It's not a bad price.
Indeed. Nothing official about this yet. It was, I believe, it was seen at NobCon. There are a couple of videos. I think Jorb has got a video out there where he speaks about it, and there's a couple of videos. If you go to the Gear News article, there's a few videos there of some introductory sounds, but there's nothing official on the website, and so the price is merely something that has been approximated or rumoured. So don't crucify us if it turns out to be 1,800. That's just what we were told.
Wouldn't be the first time that's happened.
Indeed.
I'd like to know what the data knobs are, or the data buttons are on the right. I'd like to know what function they have, but it's a good thing.
Yeah. Let's have a look. See if we can. I think we can. We can't. No, there's nothing there, is there?
Well, there is on one of the shots. So if you go down below that, go down a little further. There we go. No, further still, I think. Where is it? Go down one more.
Oh yeah,
that's got some sort
stuff.
of legend on it.
Oh, look at that! Yeah.
Oh,
so I reckon they're outputs, aren't they? Are they? Oh, I don't know. Modulator and technical. I don't know
says
what they
data, so I don't know whether it's
that's your selections, as it were.
routing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Interesting, yes, indeed. There you go. More details on gearnews.com if you want to check that one out.
We did a synthesizer.
We did. Should we do another one?
Really?
No.
Well, it's the same one. Go on then.
I don't think I've got a video. No, I haven't got a video for this.
Describe it.
Actually, no.
Yeah, we can hum.
I tell you what.
Go on.
There should be a video of this, because this is a unit that has revealed itself in new desktop form, but it used to be a Eurorack module. So we can actually probably hear what this thing sounds like. If I can very quickly find a video. There's nothing really. They're all kind of big and unwieldy kind of things. I wonder what this one. No, I won't use that, because I know that he gets very litigious. Okay, you can go and find your own bloomin' video. Okay.
Yeah, that'll serve you right.
But
come in here.
I can just hear what the chatties are going to be saying when I bring this onto the screen, which I will do rather shortly. Let me hit this. No, it's not that one. It's the other one. There it is. This is from Jomox. This is the Jomox Mod FMD, which is the desktop version as opposed to the Eurorack version, and it is. Yes, it's an FM synthesizer with an analog sidechain stereo input that gets routed into the Mod FMD effects and can be mixed to the synth. It looks an interesting thing, and it is an 8-voice FM synth. I believe. What did they use? They based it on, I think it was the DX9. That's it. So the algorithms are based on the DX9, which is, as everybody knows, the worst DX synthesizer that they ever made. But nevertheless, it's an interesting one. What it means is that the FM operators are all sine waves rather than later 4-op Yamaha FM synths, where the waveforms were many and varied. But yeah, this does some pretty cool things, and is an interesting addition to the FM
Pantheon.
World. Yeah, Pantheon. That's the word I was looking for. That's the one. I just wish I could play some audio for this, but maybe if one of you wants to talk about it, I can just maybe nip off and find something.
Well, so it's an 8-voice FM synth, and I know it's based on the DX9, but it's got a lot more algorithms than the 9 ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Is it still just sine wave?
I believe. No, hang on. Let's have a look. Oh, that's the filter. Sorry.
I'm looking at it now as well. So if you want to go and see if you can find a thingy for, I seem to remember this was quite a nice sounding thing.
We probably covered it when we did the other bit. The Eurorack bit.
Yeah.
Let's see. We can find a video that's not going to get me into trouble with anyone.
So it's got 2 analog filters, 24 dB and 12 dB multi-mode, so low pass and multi-mode, analog VCA per voice, digital reverb and 2 stereo delays. It's going to, I'd love to hear it, but it is going to have some interesting, it's going to be an interesting thing to have.
Yeah.
And I think people, what's really funny is in the last year, not just because of you, Robbie, but people have discovered, and especially after someone like Dave came on last week, FM is becoming a little less of a dirty word. It's becoming more of a recognised thing, and you can get, as Manny will, if you listen to any of Manny's stuff, you can get some really, really gloriously analog, chaotic, organic sounds from it. So anyone that's doing stuff with FM that encourages people to explore further is a good thing, and this looks like a really interesting unit. It's really interesting.
I wonder if this demo will work. Let me see if I can bring this up on the screen. It's an audio demo that's on the actual site. Let's see if this plays back. Can you hear that?
Nope.
You're not hearing that at all? No.
Nope.
Typical.
I can hum. La, 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 la. Well, that's larring.
Actually, here we go. Try this. Let me just rewind that. Here we go. Sounds nice.
Those analog filters make all the difference.
Yeah. Indeed, yeah. And it's Jomox. I mean, Jomox have got a heck of a reputation for many years.
As drain cleaners, or I know that was the.
But yeah, no, I like that. I'd like to have a go on one. So I'm hoping.
Get
I don't
off that.
think. Dude. I'm hoping there might be one at Synthfest. I doubt it though, but I'm hoping. Just have a play.
No, that looks like a good thing. I'd like to have a play with it as well.
Yeah.
I have to say I'm missing my DX5, but I've got this, so I'm going to play around with this some more. But it's not the same. So another FM instrument is going to be finding its way to me sometime soon. Whether it's this or something. By the way, whatever happened to the Icelandic Love FM synth? Do we know?
It's still in development. I mean, it was when they debuted the hardware at Super Booth. It was still very much prototypes. The box itself, if you opened it up, it was very breadboardy and sticking tape and blasters and stuff inside there. So it's still in development. So they'll have gone dark while they do that. But I know that a certain Mr. Marky Barnes managed to persuade them to let him design some sounds for it. So he's working on stuff. So yeah, I don't know if I should have said that publicly, but anyway, it's too late now. Genie's out of the bowl. I'm sure it won't do any harm. Yeah, Kent, did you? I can't remember if I asked you about this. Do you
Don't.
care? Okay, fair enough. Not a
Yeah.
problem.
I've got a fridge that sounds like that.
He has as well, actually.
I quite want your fridge. Is it MIDI?
No,
Okay.
it's quite a big one.
It's
And your
very
fridge?
big. It's very big. You could actually get a body in there.
Oh yeah, well, has done.
Another?
Anyway, we digress.
There'll be a
yet
puppy
again.
in it soon. I tell you that.
We digress. Jomox Mod FMD.
Well done to them for putting out
absolutely.
something. Yeah, that's a good thing.
I don't
How
know what
much
the
is
price. I don't know. This is what I'm just.
There we go. $1,100
Where was that?
dollars. 1,029 right at the bottom of the Gear News thing.
Oh,
1,029
right. Yeah,
pounds
that's that thing.
and 11.99 euros. That's
Cool.
not bad. The Euro
Another thing that turned up at NobCon, which we don't have any demos for, so I'm sorry I cannot do this. This is a work in progress, but this is GS Music. Now, these are some people from Argentina, not known for its synthesizer manufacture until they came along, really. They've already done a couple of...
I bet it's got a beefy sound.
Oh, no. The E7 was one. There's another one as well, I think. They've done 2 or 3, and they sound incredible. Really, really good. This is a small thing, but it's a 6-voice analog poly. I'm not entirely sure about those wood end cheeks.
Oh, I'm looking at the pitch and mod wheels.
Oh, you don't like that, do you?
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
Oh, look at us. We can put it in the front panel. Well, don't.
But I bet they're spring loaded.
Even worse.
So, yeah, it looks a nice thing, but we can't really comment on it because we haven't heard it.
It's blue.
It's blue as well, yeah.
Digital or analog?
No, analog.
Actually, it is pure
Yeah,
analog.
six voice analog. So I wonder, as somebody suggested here, is it a Juno style synth? And I guess they've just derived that from the fact it's got 6 voices. People are commenting that it's going to be around $1,000 US. Seems quite expensive for a 6-voice analog poly these days.
Well, if it's coming from a country that's not normally known for synthesizers, etc., and
I've got spinning wheels. Oh no, we're back again. Yeah.
Well,
yes, if it's coming from Argentina,
it's probably expensive for them to build it in Argentina.
Yes.
So.
And they'll probably.
But no
charge
doubt
us
somebody
a
will
premium
buy
because
one of
they're
them and
bloody
put Falklands Forever on the back of it or something.
Indeed, yeah. No, Malvinas.
Little penguins everywhere.
Yeah. So interesting little synth. Yeah, talking penguins. But yeah, I think we'll come back to that one as and when it's released and available for us to actually sort of properly talk about. So do we have anything else? We've done that. No, we've got one more thing that we're going to talk about. And in actual fact, we've kind of brought it round kind of nicely. We've got half an hour. We can actually sort of... and I know that the chat will want to chime in on this one because it's the sort of thing that people have opinions on. So last week, I think it was. Yeah, was it last week or was it Tuesday? It was Tuesday. Yeah, it was. Anyway, whenever it was, Apple, bless them in all their infinite wisdom, released macOS 15 Sequoia. And they do it every year. They do it pretty much on the same week of the same month every year. Doesn't come as any surprise. And Sequoia brings a whole bunch of improvements and enhancements, mostly, front end kind of stuff. I don't know how much has been, going on in the back end improvement wise. But of course, what it does mean is that we go through the annual rigmarole of, is my software currently supported by this new platform, but by the manufacturers to work on this particular version of macOS. Now, I can only speak to my experience. I have a MacBook Pro that I don't use all the time, and so therefore that becomes my test bed. And so I happily installed Sequoia, and it went on very easily, very quickly, and has got some great new features. And I can tell you now that Logic, of course, and GarageBand work absolutely fine, but so does Live 12, So does Reason 13. All my plugins seem to work. Core plugins, Arturia plugins, Roland plugins, they all seem to be absolutely fine. Obviously, I haven't, put it through major stress testing, and something might be lurking under the surface. But really, everyone I've spoke to, Richard Hilton's upgraded one of his machines. Steve Elbows is in the chat. He says, I'm on Sequoia, no issues yet. But anyway, this happens every year. It's like, I don't know what the big fuss is about, but there's a very, very useful website, production-expert.com, and they always have this extensive list of manufacturers and the current situation in terms of their support for the new Mac operating system. So as you can see there, we're literally days into its release, and there's very few that have actually come out and said, yay, yes, we are, all our products work absolutely fine and we will support them and we have no issues. Most manufacturers, and this is a pretty extensive list that doesn't just take into account software developers, that produce DAWs and plugins, but also services like Dropbox. They monitor those places for information. But I think generally it's all pretty good. But the rule of thumb is that if you are using a system and it's mission critical and you're doing projects on it, upgrading any operating system or any plugin or any doing any upgrades mid project is asking for trouble. So thoughts, anyone have? I mean, Kent, I know you've didn't long recently upgrade to Sonoma once it had become a little bit more stable, particularly the Cubase. So I assume that you'll be avoiding this like the plague for a little while.
Oh, like the plague! In fact, no, I'm gonna take Biscuits. I'm with Biscuit on this. Wait until like 6 months has passed.
Yeah, so you get 18,
and everybody else has stopped screaming and rolling their eyes and throwing things at the screen, and then do it.
Yeah,
just in case.
I've never had a problem apart from, I think it was the last when I went from, was it Ventura to Sonoma? I can't remember what it was. It was that inconsequential really for my workflow that one particular thing didn't work properly, and it was for about a week until they patched it, and that was fine. But in general, I mean, look, I'm not, none of us are, the Ty Unwin level of productivity where, if you were to ask Ty,
excuse me,
he's still using Windows 3.1.
Excuse me,
I know, yeah, it's probably still on 3.1, Windows for work groups. But obviously, somebody like him with massive amounts of paid for work is not going to do anything. I mean, it is what it is. But I still don't understand why there is such a kerfuffle at this time every year, because it's not like people don't know this is happening. And it's not like Apple don't seed beta versions of this well in advance. Even the Golden Master, the final version, gets sent out to a number of, pretty much all the developers that are registered a few weeks before it actually goes public. Why do you think? I mean, and I'm not being accusatory here to all of the wonderful developers that that we love and support, but why do you think so many of them don't have the support in place for their stuff from day one?
I can tell you.
Go on.
I have to be a little careful about how I phrase this, but if you are a software developer developing new apps and new processes all the time, improving your technology, a lot of that is dependent on tiny little things that happen in different OSs. And a small change to an OS can make a massive difference to your entire code base. So you have to do it's not just patching, it's a whole bunch of stuff. So I know, for instance, I've just been down this list of those who do support and don't support yet. Almost all of them, it's almost 200, do not yet or haven't, are yet to make a statement, and that is because they have to do a lot of work to support it. Now, putting that to one side, so it's not an inconsequential thing to do this. Putting that to one side, operating systems do update, and everyone, as you say, know that this is coming round. And the reason they get updated is because they get new feature sets and new ways of coding that are more efficient, add functionality. And yes, it's a pain in the ass to jump on board to be a part of that. And, it's like moving from a skateboard to a F1 car or something. Sometimes it's but that's in the long run, it's a good thing. And you're right. Most people that are in a production environment, and I really am in that, I'm more in the video side of things, where this kind of update has a massive impact, or can do, if you jump on board with it straight away. And the trick is, don't. Wait to see what's going on.
There's no obligation, is there?
So all the manufacturers, all of the developers will provide support for this. They just have to work out how and when. And in the meantime, stick with what you've got. If you're happy with it and it's getting you over the deadlines, and there are many, then go with it. And I got to say also that this week I had a big pain in the arse, major pain in the arse, with a small little Windows update that reset all of the latency on all of my audio drivers throughout a system, so that when I went to record, I ended up with a lot of digital noise at first. It sounded great whilst I was recording, only when I played it back, and I realised the latency had been dropped back to 3 samples or whatever it was, and it was working perfectly before. So this isn't limited to Mac. It's just those things happen, and it's part of the workflow of being someone working in the creative industries where you're using technology. You have to use a certain amount of caution and develop a workflow tries to avoid this. So I'm not surprised that people go, but it's all part of moving things forward, and I'm all for it.
I mean, the thing is, nobody's obliged to update their operating system on day one.
Not on day one.
I mean, I always like to, because it's fun and exciting, new stuff. But, I do hold back on my main system just a little while. Once I start seeing, things working fine, and the things that I'm using that are working fine, then, I'll go over. So I imagine I'll be going over in the next month or so, as things start to settle down. And I'm fortunate because I have a second Mac that I have nothing critical on there, and I can actually use that as a test, and so I can mess around with it. And if it doesn't work, well, I've got Time Machine. I can go back if I want to. And again, that's another beautiful thing.
And remember, people like Apple and Windows are building bridges to the future. So particularly with Apple, with their own silicon, and what they're doing with that, and how they're advancing the whole unified memory and GPU and all that whole way of viewing things, means there are opportunities, and they have to build a bridge that reaches back just far enough and far enough into the future to allow them to transition between different hardware platforms of their own. And this is with their own. Before, they were trying to support Intel and God knows what else. And that's what Windows does, which makes it, that's why it can be a pain sometimes, but it's also very powerful. So, take your choice. This is a bridge to the future. It is reaching back a bit into the past. If you don't like it, stick with what you've got for a year or 2 years until it becomes end of life. 3 years, whatever it is. That's the wagon you've jumped on.
Yeah, absolutely. And nowadays,
I've seen issues with Sonoma, for instance. When I went to Sonoma, I had problems with MIDI connectivity. Now, I think by now MIDI is pretty standard, but I mean the Hydra would constantly lose contact. The iConnectivity USB and 5-pin DIN hub, all sorts of problems with that. I went back to Ventura, it all disappeared. Now we're talking about bog standard equipment here. That it probably
it's not the equipment though. It's the drive. It's the drive.
Well, exactly, yeah. But Why are they changing the drivers that were working?
Because they can make it more efficient. And someone's made a cock up somewhere. I agree.
Well, it wasn't.
It happens.
Yeah, but the point is, Sonoma was doing that anyway, and I had all sorts of problems when that auto update happened. When I went back to Ventura, it all disappeared. Cool. But by the time they'd done, I think it was maybe the second update on Sonoma, and there was things that I wasn't getting because I wasn't on Sonoma, so I put Sonoma on, and everything was fine. But they'd had time to catch up.
Wait for the third update.
Yeah,
Always
but
wait for the third update.
the point I'm trying to get across is, it's this, oh no, because it's now, 1.2. Yes, let's get it now, because it's got to be better. That kind of mentality is what drops you in the shit.
Yeah.
No,
you should just go, look, just wait for the bombs to stop dropping, then go out. Yeah, you don't go out during the air raid. Go, look, fresh new bombs. Yeah. It's madness.
Indeed.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think in our industry, my industry, main industry, which is video particularly, just the costs involved means you get something wrong, it's horrible. It's horrible. So everyone is extremely cautious. We always say when Adobe drop an update, and I do a lot of stuff with Adobe, and I love them to pieces in many respects. But when they drop an update, a new fresh 25.1 or whatever, wait until it's 25.3 before you even think about looking at it, and generally by then they'll have sorted out the bugs. And it's partly because the drivers, they have to deal with older drivers and newer drivers, and MIDI itself is not changed, but the drivers and the way they talk to machinery and the way it's interpreted by code changes all the time with each new thing, because there's a separate multimedia subsystem for that, and the same as there is for codecs and for whatever. So all of those manufacturers, sorry, just to sort of try and get to the point here, if I can. Everyone thinks that H.264, for instance, MP4, H.264, is the same. If it's H.264, it's the same H.264 for every camera. It's not. H.264 has a multitude of ways you can handle it. The same actually applies with MIDI. There are different versions and variants and different ways of supporting it that mean that although it should be the same from one thing to another, it actually rarely is, and an awful lot of interpretations going on to make it all work together. That's the same with your display drivers, with your audio drivers, USB drivers. I mean, there are so many variants. USB 2, 1, 3, 3.1, 3.2. So, and all of that has to be supported by each app that's talking to them, as well as by the hardware, as well as by the OS. So, just wait until someone else has had the pitfall, then jump in. But it's complex.
But I'm going to pick you up on that very last point. You said wait until somebody else has done that. But if we're telling everybody to wait, then nobody will dip their toe in the water and update.
No, they do.
Yeah, I know they do. But what if they didn't? What if they all actually listened to us and said, if
they didn't, maybe the software designer, Apple, would make sure the OS worked properly before they release it and announce it.
Well, the OS does. No, this is the thing. The OS does work properly. It's just how it works with the third-party stuff, which, of course, the OS developer, as much as, and what we should have done, we should have got Alison Cassidy on here to kind of talk us through, because, she's a brilliant Apple engineer. She's a senior manager of engineers at Apple, and she'd be able to give us some sort of insight. I know for a fact that Apple work with all of the major developers and many of the smaller ones too, directly, to make sure that there is, that there are no real sort of gotchas.
As do Windows, but
they
can only make sure the OS is right.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that the way the drivers that are then presented by third parties are exactly right, that there's no faux pas and snafus in there. It's multiple layers, so it's the drivers, again, the drivers for the hardware, the drivers for the apps, the translational stuff and the apps and all the apps that the apps use, the plugins. So each one of those is a layer of complexity. So the OS may be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But there may need to be, at some point, all of the developers coming together and saying, Apple, look, we know this works for you, but we need this door opening for us so that we can make backwards compatibility, because we haven't got £1 billion to spend on each of these things. So can you help? And generally, there is an accommodation reached. But it's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's an interesting.
Well, it's never going
and
to
very
change, is it?
contentious. No, it's
always going to be like this.
Unless one company makes everything, literally everything, and maybe that's the way it's going to go. But no, it's nobody should be ever feel compelled to update, and it always, every time an OS update, whichever platform you're on, everyone should not update until they feel comfortable in doing so, that it won't disrupt or upset their workflow and what have you. So what's this? I've been in the Apple desk. Of course, Andy. Hello, Andy. By the way, hello. I know how the sausage is made. Love his terminology. They do a pretty good job in general, way better than Microsoft. Well, let's not. I mean, this is the other side of the coin. And I put this list up on our Facebook page, and within minutes, it had not. There was nobody saying, "Oh, thanks for that." It became, "Oh, bloody Mac, ruining Apple ruining everything for everyone," and it became a Mac versus Windows thing, and shut up. This is boring.
And you know what? They both face the same
They're
issues.
both as bad. Yeah, exactly.
Windows has more problems in that it has to cover a whole heap of other processors. Apple have a constrained environment where they're using their own silicon.
Yeah.
Windows is dealing with a lot more devices and a lot more manufacturers, so of course it's going to be harder for them. But they still do they do a pretty good job. Occasionally they have a ricket, as do Apple.
Yeah.
It happens. So
it definitely does.
And by the way, I'm agnostic. I really don't care, whichever works best and whichever.
I use both.
I don't care.
Every day. I use both. I prefer to use Mac, but my work systems are all Windows based. I don't have any choice in that, although I am trying to force the issue next year to try and get me to go over to Mac. But no, I use both systems every day. They both do the jobs that I want them very well. They both have slightly little infuriating annoyances, most of which are just minor. So yeah, it's just nobody's compelled to update, and if you do update and you don't think about the consequences, then sorry, more fool you. I'm sure most of us, I mean certainly the large majority of people I talk to, wait until at least the first point release before flipping over.
Well, I must admit, as a focus point machine, I haven't missed Windows since buying the Mac. I mean, it was the whole point of buying the Mac anyway, because I'd got so fed up with dealing with the various crapitudes that kept appearing in Windows. Windows 11, mate. But anyway, you get an operating system come along and you go, yes, everything's working, and then you go, oh, here's an update, and go, no, half the things aren't working again. And and so I went to, to be fair, getting moaned at by you and Richard Hilton and Charlie Unwin. There's a whole list of people who've been bitching at me, going, you should have got a Mac. To the point where I'm going, do you know what? I think I should probably go and get a Mac, and I did. And that's been exactly the same road of pain that the Windows machine was, but less so somehow. Because it did get dealt with, whereas you write to certain vendors and say, "Oh, this doesn't work with this, that, and the other." I go, "Yeah, and."
I think the return
is a better response from Mac. I must have.
The return on investment on a purchase of a single Mac computer is much better than that on certain Windows based machines. But of course, the thing, as Andrew pointed out, Macs are a known constrained configuration unless you hack them, and that's becoming increasingly less easy to do. The operating system knows what it's playing with, so that's good. Whereas Windows, or Microsoft should I say, have the unenviable task of trying to write an operating system that will work on PCs that have a myriad different configuration possibilities with all the different cards and add-ons and manufacturers that are out there.
And the other thing that the reason why Windows is still doing what it does, aside from it's had a lot of corporate buy-in, and it does do a pretty good job with that, is for my industry on the video side, you can have multiple GPUs, which means rendering and all that, the kind of stuff which takes time and which is useful to have. Windows machines beat Macs hollow with just that, with that whole thing. But for a creative flow, Macs are far and away the better. They have a much better way of doing this. And I keep saying I'm going to switch. I realised I've got two M1 Minis at the studio, which I bought as soon as they came out, and I've used them for 2 projects, and I just don't use them anymore. They're acting like, they really are acting as doorstops. Not because they're bad, but because I've already got systems that are doing everything I need. And at some point, I'm going to resurrect one of them and use it for something. But I don't need that. I don't need the hassle at the moment. So, Cubase to offer us cross-platform ones.
That kind of brings me, because I asked the question of, I think, you guys the other day. I was looking to upgrade my Harrison mix bus from 32C version 9 to the new version 10, and they've offered me a very good upgrade path. But at the same time, Cubase have got their sale on until next week, where I can get Cubase Pro 13 for just a little bit more than the Harrison mix bus upgrade. I need neither. I like Mixbus because I like the sound of it when I put stuff through it. But then there's always, because I was such a Cubase fanboy back in the day, there's always a little part of me that says, go on, give it another go, give it another chance. I'm thinking for 150 quid, I think, for the crossgrade.
I've got both.
Yeah, I'm not. You said for the sound, Harrison every day.
For the sound, Harrison, but their support since they've been taken over is pants at the moment. It really is, and their way of downloading and installing stuff just puts so much shit on your system, and on any system it causes all sorts of problems, and it's not easy to get back out of. Yeah. Whereas with Cubase, the one thing about Cubase 13, because 11 backwards, all of those, they're all a bit sort of the audio side of it, just trying to define what audio inputs and outputs work and how and remember it is a pain in the bum. 13 has fixed an awful lot of that. It really has. It's done a great job, and the interface is much better. So if the sound, Harrison, the user interface, and for general workhorse, definitely 13. But, horses for courses. You like live.
Yeah, I do.
Maybe you'll have a better experience with Harrison than I did.
I don't know.
I know Macs don't tend to work well in the workshop. Pretty much,
really?
Yeah, across the board. I used the Mac Mini on the Carvera here a couple of weeks ago. So it was the same software. Because Fiona wanted to use the laptop as she was doing something else, and I said, look, I'll put the operating system on the Mini. So I fire up the Mac Mini and everything like that, and I send the file via the software to the Carvera, which is wireless. And the Carvera proceeded to pick up a tool like it's supposed to, go and check depth on the sensor. Then it, for some reason, came back and tried to select another tool while it still had a tool in the chuck, and snapped both tools. But it's exactly the same file that when you put it on the laptop, because I did it with the laptop again, and replaced the tools at cost, repaired the damage that had been done by this 6-ton thing winding down onto the plate, and it ran perfectly.
Yeah.
And I've had this with CNC machines, 3D printers as well, that I haven't had the same kind of results using Macs over Even some cheap tacky old bloody PC. I don't know. It's just they just seem to respond to them better. I don't know why. No
Coming
idea.
back to digital audio workstation. Sorry, we were talking about Cubase. It is worth mentioning that there's been some announcements that Studio One is Pro 7 is coming, and they're ditching all other versions. So Studio One Artist and Studio One Prime gone. There's basically now only one version of this digital audio workstation, which is going to come out in a couple of weeks' time, and I think that will probably be the best time for us to talk about it once we've seen everything that's in there. I mean, I know Studio One Pro has a massive, very passionate and dedicated fan base. I've had people tell me they've ditched Pro Tools in favour of this. Most people ditch Pro Tools right in favour of anything at the moment. It's going to be $200 for new customers with upgrades from the previous, now extinct versions. We'll talk about that in more detail. But if you want to go, say this again, these guys should be paying you more money. Go to gearnews.com. There's a really nice article from Marcus there, who knows his stuff about these things. And there's a video to watch in there. But yeah, that's been announced this week.
I've never tried Studio One really. I think I used it for a day, I think, because someone else had it. But I've not really tried it, and it's one of those ones which I've always been sort of. I should look harder at it. A bit like yourself with Cubase, Harrison. This is one which I've been meaning to look at for an age, and I never have quite.
Yeah,
you do get a lot of nice instruments bundled with Cubase.
Yeah,
particularly
I tried
PadShot Pro, and funnily enough, I tell you what, we compare PadShot Pro to Justin's Quadrasynth.
Oh, okay.
In terms of sounds that you get from it. Yeah, it's nice.
Another little bit of news. We spoke about this instrument when it was kind of first announced, but the Kiviak Wo-Fi. Do you remember that? Let me just put this up on screen. As soon as you see it, you'll remember it. So that's now available to pre-order, which was an interesting little sampler, and I had a little listen to it. I didn't sort of mess around with it at Super Booth this year, and it's a fun thing to play, and it was getting a lot of interest. That's now available to pre-order, 684 quid, 745 US, 798 euro, available at Thomann and probably many other retailers as well. But yeah, that's now available, so that's a little tidbit for you there. There was another thing that I wanted to just very quickly mention, and that's it. Synapse Audio, they did recently this new plugin with Hans Zimmer's branding all over it. So it's called Hans Zimmer's, or the Legend HZ, Hans Zimmer's Souped Up Mini Mode, is now available as a Reason Rack extension, which I'm surprised that format is still going, to be honest, because I don't know what advantages the rack extension has over the standard VST plugin that Reason can happily host within its platform. So I'm not entirely sure why they've done that, whether they're I'm not sure. But if you are a Reason rack extension aficionado, then you can now get the Legend HZ from Synapse Audio, and it's on offer. It's 129 instead of 189 over at the Reason store, which is where you can buy that. And I think that was it for little tidbits of information. We've got about 5 or 6 minutes left.
We could sing a song.
We could, but we're not, because I want to mention... also, Behringer UBXA has now had another discount. It was knocked down from like $1,299 to $1,099, and it's now under $1,000. It's only just, but it's now under $1,000 for a 16-voice analog polyphonic keyboard with polyphonic aftertouch. Regardless of what we think about the brand, that's a pretty good price for a synthesizer of that specification. Price. So yeah, that's if you were in the market for a UBXA, maybe go and check that out. But no, what I wanted to do just as the last thing, because we've got a presence there, so I want to make sure that people are aware of Synthfest UK, which is coming up in, tomorrow. It'll be 2 weeks before We all gather in Sheffield at the Octagon Centre. Tickets have been on sale for a while. All the early bird tickets have gone. So if you want to buy a ticket, it's going to cost you $17.99 if you buy it in advance. A walk-up ticket is £25 on the day. So if you definitely want to come, I would suggest getting on board now rather than on the day. There are, of course, concessions for students and senior citizens and children of various ages. Any kid under, if you want to bring your kid and they're under 14, they get in for absolutely nothing. But the reason, obviously, I want to mention this, we go every year. I sometimes do a seminar, sometimes I don't. But this year, myself and Peter James Stephen, who is in the chat, we're going to be doing our our EMU celebrations, 40 years of the emulator 2, and to celebrate that, we've got one of every emulator that they made on display, and hopefully all functioning. So yeah, we've got a nice big stand. We've actually been given a nice big stand, not just a single width, a double width. So yeah, it's going to be a good day out. It's always a great day out, and there's some great seminars on this year. So if we look at the seminar listing, we've got there's an EMOM kicking off at midday with some familiar names there in the list. Then there's a live auction that'll be fun. Soundgas are doing a live auction at 2:00. And then my friend Ollie Freck is doing a iconic drum machines seminar, which I'm going to be very interested in. And then DivKid is going to be doing a patch from scratch at 5 p.m. And all of those seminars are included in the event price. You don't pay anything extra to get into those. And of course, they've had some amazing people doing seminars. Oh, look at that. Over the years. So yeah, they're really good, fun events to go to, and you will learn lots and have lots of fun. But Synthfest UK is on in 2 weeks. 2 weeks tomorrow. So if any of you guys from the ProSynth Network audience are going to be in Sheffield on the Friday night, I don't know quite what we're doing yet, but we'll be going out for certainly a meal and maybe some beers. And then, of course, Andy, we'll have details of this close to the time, but Andy Brooks is working on our usual Saturday gathering at the Turkish restaurant just down the road from the Octagon Centre, where we shall descend and eat and drink and be merry. So look out for information on that. But yeah, Synthfest. Hey! Then the week after that, Machina Bristronica will be there as well with the same display. So if you can't make it to Sheffield, but you can make it to Bristol, come and see us there. And Bristol is going to be extra special because Dave Rossum's going to be there. So the man that basically...
If I wanted to get to Sheffield for October the 5th, I should probably leave now and hope that the AA get me there.
I wouldn't take your car at all.
No, I'd walk. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to see my work will be at Synthfest again.
Yes, indeed.
Did you see the PPG modular?
What?
Yeah, I did her.
You did her.
Because I recognised it. There's something very particular about that PPG modular that's different from all the other ones on the planet. And you can see it in that video. Yeah.
Yeah, so come and see us and have a bit of fun. It's always a very good day out. And I'm breaking my... popping my Bristronica cherry this year. So it'll be the first time I've been there.
What you were going to say then?
I know. But no, I'm really looking forward to that because with Mr. Rossum in attendance, and he's already apparently expressed a very keen desire to come and hang out on our stand in Bristol on the Saturday. Yeah, should be good fun. And of course, as soon as you walk in to Synthfest, you'll be faced with, I guess, a Maximus 4V. Because Tom always gets that front thing, doesn't he? So I reckon he'll have the 4V. And maybe he'll have the 8. Yeah. But he always has his latest bit of gear there.
Extra points for anyone that can guess what's on this.
Porn.
Other than you two.
Fingerprints.
Oh, I know what's on there, yeah, well, more of that to come. And if you want to know what is on that hard drive, then make sure you subscribe. And
is that what's on it? Is it?
And if you can...
Some of it.
Subscribe to our Patreon as well. Yeah, but absolutely, yeah. As Manny says, Dave Rossum is a legend. He's doing a presentation. He's going to be talking all about the emulators, and then we're going to be there with them, which is going to be fantastic. So come and say hi. Anyway, that's very nicely brought us to 9 o'clock. We managed to do it again. Every time I I don't know how we do it, but we get there. I'm now going to go and get... no, I'm not going to get drunk. I'm just going to inebriate myself mildly whilst watching some rubbish on TV. And then...
Rubbish.
I've got stuff to... I know I've got stuff to do.
If you want to watch something brilliant on TV, Fleming.
Well, don't cough at the
Is
TV.
it all about people coughing?
It's a series. It's a 4-part series on
Jinx.
Ian Fleming.
Oh, it's on Ian Fleming. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm definitely interested in that. Big James Bond fan. What I've got to do is I've got to listen to this, which is the new Jamie XX album, which has got this amazing... Yeah. Hang on.
Just had a flashback.
You've got to wait till I remove it from here.
Oh, my God, look at this.
It's kind of stuck. Hang on.
I think I might throw up.
Oh, my God.
It doesn't really come across well on the camera, but...
Oh, it does.
It's a bit trippy.
Yeah, it does. Don't worry.
Oh, it really
Yeah,
does.
so I've got that to listen to. But I was going to listen to it today, but then my daughter had one of her really bad migraines. It's funny that Steve just said that in there. She didn't know. She didn't look at the sleeve, but she had one of her really, really bad migraines. And I was going to whack it on in the lounge and then just listen to it. But I couldn't do that because her bedroom's right above the lounge, so I couldn't.
Oh.
But she's gone out. Her boyfriend plays for Ipswich and I think England hockey.
Well,
yeah.
Okay.
So she's going to watch him play tomorrow. So I'll have get in there.
give it some volume.
Indeed.
Give it some dubbers.
Indeed. What are you guys doing this weekend? Anything fun and interesting? Putting your feet up, or are you going to be knee deep in ARP 2600s again? You're going to be editing video. That's good.
I'm putting a battery in a DX100.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Expensive.
Yeah. What else am I doing tomorrow? Oh,
Which is worth more, the battery or the DX100?
I'm putting a backlight in an Emulator 3 that is slightly blown up.
Yes, you need to get that out.
Yeah, I need to get that sorted out. And an SP1200. And there's a Juno 106. There is a... oh my god! Oh, I have to check the DX1 again because that's going Monday. What else have I got to do? Come on, Ken. Think of your list. Oh, there's a Jupiter 4, and that's just this weekend. So
I almost forgot. Whilst we were on air, because you remember at the beginning of the show, I said we've got news so hot it's literally just landed on my desk.
Indeed.
I forgot all about it, but it's this. Alex Ball's Korg PS3300 video has landed.
Ah.
And this, my friends, is the new PS3300.
We can tell that.
Now, I'm not going to play any more than that because I don't want Alex to get angry with me, but it's there right now. Go and watch it.
Oh, yeah.
You know it's going to be good. Enjoy that and tell Alex that we sent you. So, yeah, really looking forward to that.
And then download either Full Bucket Music's version or Cherry Audio's, which is very special.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very
Don't forget that there are other synthesizer shows out there. We've got Andy Synchrotron. He's already scheduled his live stream for tomorrow at 10 a.m. UK time.
I'm going to need him when I'm putting that battery in that DX100.
Indeed. So yeah, Andy Synchrotron. The channel name is just Synchrotron. Go and check him out. Give him a like and a subscribe and a thumbs up and all of that stuff. And then of course Ranzi is on at 2 p.m. But Ranzi with a difference. Ranzi has grown a long beard and has started talking with a Danish accent.
Some woodlosies.
Oh.
Basically Henrik's standing in. But it's the same Ranzi show on the Ranzi channel. But Henrik's doing the stand-in. So that's at 2 p.m. UK time.
It's a long way to fly to do a podcast.
I know,
though, isn't it?
yeah. It's got to go all the way to Perth
God.
just to do the show.
Sorry, I've just been watching something in the chat. Just so you know, this is only ever these I only ever use to transport between one system or transfer. These are for transfers only. It ends up on my system. You never use these to edit off. Never.
Okay. Right. Pub this weekend?
Quite possibly, if I recover from putting a battery in a DX100.
I got told of. When did you do Did you do it on Saturday or Sunday last week?
I think it was Saturday, wasn't it?
Because I got told off. My missus
Why?
because my missus said, "What are you doing?" I said, well, "I'm just chatting with me mates, and she said, "You normally do that on a Sunday. This is Saturday night. So that's why I had to go off and be."
No, it's normally on a Saturday.
It's normally on a Saturday.
I thought,
Well, actually, it's normally on a Saturday or a Sunday. Or a Tuesday. Possibly sometimes Wednesday. There
Or
is
Monday.
Thursdays as well.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
as well as
But not on a Friday, because some other bunch of dickwit took up the space. Took up the airtime. Yeah. So it's literally any time is pub time.
Another video to go and watch, by the way, if you want to go. He doesn't do live shows, but he ought to. Our friend Anthony Marinelli did some great videos this past week, particularly the one with Colin Wolfe, where after Anthony had done this video about how they used the Mini Moog on Dre's Nothing But a G Thang to do that sound, whatever it is. Turns out it was a Yamaha SY77. And it was a really interesting tale behind it. And Colin,
string sound.
Yeah, Colin, has worked with Dre and NWA and a huge number of those kind of artists. And it's a really interesting artist. Well worth going and checking out that one. And I know that I can't say anything, but Anthony has got some really good stuff coming up. So we're going to get him back on the show. We've got somebody coming on the show in a few weeks' time that I know you'll all love, because he's just one of those lovely people you can't help but love, and he's got a brand new album coming out, and it's a stonker. So we'll give you more details on that. So yeah, we're going to get some great people on the show over the next few weeks and months leading up to the end of the year. But on that note, let's say goodbye, because my bladder is screaming at me, and I need to go. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in and watching. Why do we still say tuning in? We haven't tuned into anything for years. But thank you, anyway, for clicking.
Out.
Yeah,
I've tuned out
thank you for clicking on those links and joining us. And if you're watching in the future somewhere, thank you for coming back. And if you want to give us some
flying cars yet?
Yeah. How's those hoverboards coming on?
Yeah.
If you want to support us, patreon.com/ProSynth Network. You can become a YouTube channel member. You can use Super Chat or Super Stickers in the chat right now. If you're watching on Catch Up, you can use the thanks button, which sits directly under this video. You don't have to pay, but everything that you do goes towards keeping us going, which we've been doing for literally 4.5 years, and there's no sign of it abating yet. But anyway, thank you all for your patronage. Have a fantastic weekend. And take the greatest of care. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Au revoir.
And remember, Andy worked for Emulator.
Yes.
Did I?
Apparently.
Yes.
Bloody hell.